just get this set up, guys. First time, so still trying to figure this out. 1 second. Alright, thank you guys for tuning into the Comic Confab YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be solving a Rubik's Cube. No. I mean, I'll solve this for you guys, but that's not why we're here today. Today I just kind of wanted to go over the general direction of where Comic Confab is going, what it's all about, and what I expect out of the channel. So, Comic Confab, the entire idea was that came from me jumping on board with comic books ever since the Deadpool movie came out. And ever since that movie came out, I obviously read the Deadpool comics first. I never had a comic book before that. And I've always liked superhero shows like the Amazing Spider-Man back in the 1990s, Justice League on Cartoon Network, that was probably in 2000 or so, Teen Titans, things like that. I've always liked those things, but I never came across a comic book store. There's not very many where I live. They're even kind of spaced out and kind of far for me right now. Like when I want to go out to a comic book store, and I just never had a comic before. So this was something completely new to me. And when I finally got it, when I finally jumped on board to the comic book world, I just loved it. I loved it. I love reading. The only problem that I have with reading is that I'm a really slow reader. And, with comics, since it's considerably less text, I can make my way through a story a lot quicker, because that's the main problem, is that I read so slow that sometimes I get a little bit bored with my own reading ability. And that's pretty much where it all started. It all started with Deadpool. I never even heard of Deadpool until the movie came out. So when I saw the movie, I loved the movie. I jumped on board. It was one of the best movies of 2016, in my honest opinion. And one of the best movies, one of the best superhero movies in my opinion. At least, at least that's how I feel. Unfortunately, Fox owns the rights, so we won't see Deadpool in the Marvel universe, at least not anytime soon. Probably not while Ryan Reynolds is still playing him. But yeah, that's where it all jumped off. So I started out there, and then obviously nobody that I knew liked comics, or else I would have probably gotten into the comic book world a little bit sooner. I have friends that read comics, like very rarely, here and there. Like if they probably hear like a good story or whatever, they'll read a comic, but nothing like where they're gonna read it. Like they keep up with the current events and all that stuff. So when I hit that barrier of finding out that I like comics, and nobody else really liked them as much, it kind of sucked, because there's no outlet. Deadpool was a good place to start. Yeah, I think so. I really liked them. Yeah. So I hit that barrier of not being able to talk to anybody about what I liked in comics. And, that's why I was like, you know what? what if I just go online and find the community that is, comics, comics have always been stereotyped for nerds and geeks and stuff like that, which I now want to claim that I am, but I don't think I even earned that title yet. I haven't read enough comics to even be a nerd or a geek. But and I think it's a good title. I like that title. But I found out that there's no one place, there's no like go-to place for comic books. Every website, or like not every website, but a lot of websites, they'll have like sections for comics. Like Reddit. Reddit has subthreads, or I don't really go on Reddit, so I don't know exactly what it's called. I think they're called subreddits or something like that of comic books, and I've gone on there, but the engagement isn't like it doesn't. It's not exactly how I want it to be. Also, I saw that CBR kind of had like a little forum thing, but when they switched their website design, it pissed off a lot of people. I didn't think it was that bad, but I think it was a lot more like it was way easier to navigate before. And then there's a couple of apps. There's one app out there. I think it's just called Comics, but it's like a really sloppy done app, and I just didn't like the way that it felt. So I didn't like that. So when it comes to gaming, when you want to talk about gaming, or you want to go for gaming reviews or anything like that, you can be pointed in one direction. Overall, at least in my opinion, this is how I used to play games a lot up until I was about 22, which was like 3 years ago. But I overdid it, and my wife didn't like that. So I don't play games very often anymore. But IGN is the place that you go when you want all your gaming information. And I felt like there wasn't that particular outlet, and I think they have forums or something like that. There's multiple forums and stuff like that outside of IGN, and I know that. But IGN was one place that you could be pointed to. That's like what somebody would point you to. I mean, and then maybe there is somewhere that comic book people, nerds, geeks, whatever you want to call them, are pointed to, but I don't know anybody personally to be pointed in that direction. I've talked to the comic book place owner about online and stuff like that, and they didn't really have a solid answer for me either. So I don't think there's such a thing that exists. And since I'm an iPhone programmer, I figured, well, what if I just make the app myself? I know how to do it. I know how to do a good majority of it, but I don't know how to do everything, and that's why it takes a little bit longer, because I have to learn while I'm actually making the app. So that's the whole thing. So I decided, you know what, I want to do an app. But then I started talking to some of my friends, and they actually said, oh, you know what, we do read comics, and we do read comics here and there. Blah blah blah. We can start a whole entire business around this. And I was like, oh, that's great, because then I had somebody to do it with, because I'm always able to go farther with things if I have a team or friends or somebody helping me out and moving forward like that. That didn't work out. Comic Confab has been around for at least 6 months, and this is probably the first time you guys are hearing about it. I had a podcast. I really loved doing the podcast. I think I liked it more than I liked doing the video, because the podcast, I just felt a little bit more comfortable, and with myself on video, I don't feel that comfortable, at least not yet, and the podcast just came naturally to me. But the thing about the podcast is that I wanted to do like hour-long podcasts, because you want to have like a show, you want to have like good content for a good amount of time. At least that's how I feel, because when I drive out to my job, and luckily I only have to go 2 days a week. When I drive out to my job, I'm in the car for like 2 hours, and I want something to listen to. So that's what I wanted to provide for people, because the podcast market isn't as saturated, but um but the problem was that I couldn't get my friends on board for a weekly podcast. That was the problem. And when I did do the podcast on my own, I felt like I was just rambling and nobody would want to hear that. So I was like, maybe I won't do the podcast anymore. It feels like it's a hassle to try to get my friends on board every week. They have lives of their own. I mean, it's completely understandable why they can't make it every week. There's a bunch of small communities that do it. I was part of one called Nerd Feed a while ago. There isn't a main place where it's centralized. I suppose Amino app would be the closest, but I personally. Oh yeah, so that's the one that I was talking about. Thanks, Mod King Mopey, and thank you for supporting me. You've been a real help on Twitter and on here, so I really appreciate that your support. Amino app, yeah, the Amino app, I do like several aspects of it, but that's the one that I felt that it was kind of like it was done like in a dirty type of way. Not like dirty, but like it wasn't clean. The UI wasn't clean. I felt like there was just a little bit too much going on for me. Um, but that's just me. I just didn't like it. And also I felt that it was kind of cookie cutter, because Amino, they have several different apps. They have a cosplay app. They have like a gaming app. They have like several different apps, and they're all just kind of cookie cutter. And what they do is they take one app and they change the logo and the title, and then they market it to different demographics. So you'll have the gaming community, the cosplay community, comic book community, so on and so forth. And they had like 30 different apps, and they were all like the same. So I kind of didn't like that. It felt like impersonal. Like I felt that if I did it, um, somebody that likes comic books and kind of knew what to provide, I felt like it'd give you a better and more personalized experience, and it would really also take like advice from whoever shows up and wants to give me feedback on the app. Then I could give all the users exactly what they want. But going back to the podcast thing, it just didn't work out. I couldn't get people on board every week. So I decided, you know what, YouTube, I can do short. I could do short videos, because most people don't want hour-long videos. You could do short videos, and the Amino app is designed to have mass information, one size fits all. It also limits how many images you can add at once, meaning you have to upload several posts about the same subject or do responses. Okay, I'm gonna actually screenshot that, because if that's a problem, then I want to make sure that the app doesn't have that. Thank you so much, Mod King Mopey. I'm keeping that. So yeah, that's where we were with the podcast. So I moved over to YouTube. Only need me to do YouTube. It is a lot of work, and I did give myself a big schedule. I plan on putting out videos every day, which is really hard for me with the family. So I plan on doing a series, which makes it so that I don't have to come up with like completely brand new content like out of nowhere. So that's why I have the series listed on the about page, if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, so I'm gonna be doing the YouTube thing, and hopefully providing you guys with content that you like, and then also building a community, because what this really is it's marketing, so that I can start building that community, so that when the Comic Confab app does come out, you guys will want to jump on board and hopefully give me some feedback, and then I can adjust it. Also, The good thing about YouTube is that you can see the face behind the app. We can have a dialogue about it, and it's not like a completely like a company thing. If let's say Coca-Cola made an app, you wouldn't know who to talk to. I mean, Coca-Cola is like freaking huge. It's a giant corporation that you don't. I mean, at least I don't associate a face with Coca-Cola or something like that, right? Whereas I kind of want this to be more personalized and give you guys, a behind the scenes, which is why I'm doing the Saturday check-ins. You guys can watch what's happening with the app while I'm developing it. Like I made some progress last night, so what if you saw the app check-in yesterday, then you'll actually start seeing some progress next week when I show up. I've noticed you have taken certain liberties with the name of your show. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't really understand the comment. I know that NerdSync actually has shows called Super Suits and Alter Ego, but I actually came up with those names before I noticed that NerdSync had those, and they're not going to be the same. So NerdSync, which is a good anybody watching this, it's a good YouTube channel. I suggest that you guys go over there and definitely check out his content. Definitely give him a thumbs up if you like his content, and comment on his work. He does put in a lot of work into those, but his super suits are about lawsuits in the comic book universe, and then his alter egos, I forgot what his alter egos were, because I just recently found out about NerdSync probably about a month ago, and I haven't watched all his stuff yet. But his alter egos are going to be a little bit different, whereas my super suits will actually be about the superheroes' costumes. I just thought it was like a more super suits. I mean, it's your suit, and not everybody. I wanted to do behind the mask, but not every superhero has a mask. So it seemed like the most logical thing to go with. And then alter ego. So super suits is going to be about talking about their costumes and what the purpose is of their costume. Alter ego is going to be about who the person is behind the mask, if you will, or like under the costume. So Superman would be Clark Kent, and I'd be talking about Clark Kent, what his who he is outside of Superman, and what his job is. Don't worry, a lot of people wouldn't notice. I only did because I work with him sometimes. Yeah, I didn't mean to rip him off. It was just those were the titles that made sense for me, and I honestly did choose them before I noticed. I did reconsider doing the titles, but I just felt like I don't feel like I'm stepping on his toes, because it's two different things. And I totally give credit to NerdSync if anybody does think I'm trying to steal his content, but no, I mean, definitely go check out his content. But no, I really like those names, and I wanted to keep them, so I'm gonna stick with them. And hopefully when I think Super Suits comes out on Mondays and Alter Egos is on Tuesdays, so when you guys see the content, hopefully you'll notice that it is something different. But yeah, Alter Ego, I'm gonna be talking about like things like Clark Kent and his job, and like what he would be getting paid and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be a little bit different. But overall, yeah, I just wanted to build a community. Not here, have to go have a go. Those shows aren't hiatus at the moment anyways. Yeah, I also noticed that those shows didn't seem to have anything too recent. Not too recent. Maybe like a month ago or something like that, but not too recent. But yeah, what else? just wanted to build a community, wanted to establish a dialogue. I am trying to build a Twitter following. I think Twitter, like I at first I didn't really like Twitter. I've never been a really social network type of guy, but once I've really been trying to get on Twitter and see what's going on in the comic book community through Twitter. I like a lot of what they're doing, where you can click on a tweet, see everybody's reply. So it's almost forum style. I think I'm gonna go that route with the Comic Confab app, and there's just gonna be so many different features that I want to add in there, and hopefully I get some feedback from you guys and see what you guys like. So if you guys saw at the beginning of the stream, I did have a Rubik's Cube, so I'll also try to solve that. Overall, I just want to have a community where I can have a personal outlet, and everybody else can have a personal outlet, because I think being like a geek maybe 10 years ago was like definitely a bad thing. It always had like a bad like connotation, or bad, there was like it wasn't cool to be a geek. It wasn't a good thing, but I feel like things have changed a lot. I don't know if people would even be considered geeks now, but that's the term that I remember hearing. And whenever I thought geek, it'd be like a comic book guy from the Simpsons. So that's kind of what I always thought. Not that I thought it was a bad thing, because there were a lot of geeky things that I've tried to go into. It just never worked out. I don't know. It was just a couple of different things that I've tried to go into, and it never turned out. I like the pitches for your show. Try not to be disappointed if it doesn't grow super fast. It takes time to grow these things. Did a lot of people listen to your podcast? No, I wouldn't say a lot, because you know what a lot means to people on the internet nowadays is like thousands. I think I hit a pretty good audience. Let me see if I could pull it up. I think I got like maybe like 30 views, which are 30 listens, which I thought was pretty cool to me. And I know that these things take a long time to grow, and I really don't expect much, but if I could get like 100 people, that'd be like more than enough, because I don't like I don't talk to 100 people in a day. That's like all I would be looking for, is like maybe like 100 people. If I could get 100 subscribers, then I'd be happy. I did my job. I realize that 30 views is a lot of views, at least to me. So when I get things like that, it makes me feel good. No, I got like the most plays that I have on my podcast are like 26. Let me send you one of the episodes in the chat thing. So no, it wasn't wildly popular by any means, and we only did 6 of them. So that kind of shows you. And I was trying to do one every week, but we skipped like 2 weeks or something like that. So it didn't last very long, and it got to the point where I would be like, hey, are you coming over to my house so that we could do the podcast? And there would be like no response at all, like not even saying no. So it kind of sucked that I wasn't even getting a response. And when I didn't get responses, that's when I was like, man, that like it kind of made me frustrated. Like I know that people have lives, but I just didn't like not being responded to. So that's kind of why I got kind of frustrated, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it's such a hassle to try to get people together. That's not bad at all, considering he wasn't doing social media for it. Yeah, I wasn't doing social media. Like they were supposed to be doing the social media for it, but it was kind of like a one-man show. It's kind of like how it is right now, but which isn't bad. It's just not. I was expecting, it was supposed to be a team effort, and it just didn't feel like it was really a team effort. But like I said, everybody has their own lives. Both of my friends, I love them. They were the best men at my wedding, or my groomsmen at my wedding. So I love them, but it was just kind of frustrating and that things didn't work out. So that's where that was. But yeah, it just didn't work out. So I'm hoping that the YouTube thing works out because I don't have to rely on anybody. Once again, Mopey, I do appreciate you being here. You have definitely been supportive. I know that you sent somebody over to me the other, was it yesterday? Like, my days are kind of blended together. I think it was either yesterday or 2 days ago, and I really appreciate that. You've really been supportive of the channel, and I've only been like around for like I've only been pushing for like the last 2 weeks or so I really appreciate that. Other things that I want to do with Comic Confab is, because I am only a iPhone developer, I don't know how to make Android apps. I may have to go out and find an Android developer. We work with one at my company, but I just don't know how that's going to work out, because right now we are going through some troubles at the company on having a solid Android developer that's in-house. So that's one of the problems with the Comic Confab app that I have to look into, because a lot of people have Androids. Most of the people that I know have iPhone, but Android is it's a pretty huge following. I think a lot of people lean towards Android for the most part. Possibly I tend to tweet out anything I'm interested in. Well, that's the idea, is to give you guys something that hopefully that you haven't seen before, and give you guys interesting content. So that won't always be easy. I know that YouTubers tend to hit either a dead end or hit burnout. That's why I want to try to batch some of my recording and do most of my recording on like 1 or 2 days, probably during the weekend, get it out the way, and then lay them out throughout the week, give you guys daily content, but it's only weekly for me, so that I don't burn out, and hopefully go long enough so that you guys get your content. I'm able to do the app. I still love doing it. I get to read comic books, and everything can flow as it is right now. Lately, it's been a little bit hard. I've been experiencing a lot of technical difficulties learning all the different softwares that go into video editing. But I think it's coming along nicely. Like, I finally got all the stuff to do the setup in my garage. If you notice that I use a green screen for the backgrounds in my series videos. So I think things are moving forward at a with decent production values, if I say so myself. But that still remains to be seen. Once more people come on board, we'll see what they think about that. Cross development has always been an issue for me personally. Have a similar response from server or both devices. In the past, I've just made them exclusive, but not really good for the fan base. Yeah, that's definitely true, because I don't want to isolate iOS. If you're a developer, let me know. Or if you have experience, what do you do, if you don't mind me asking? Because that's pretty cool that you have some of that experience. Yeah, definitely. I think that's really cool. If you're a programmer, that's definitely awesome, because like I figured there had to be like some comic book programmers out there, and I was like, man, there got to be somebody that'd be a comic book programmer that I'd probably have like so much in common with. That'd be really cool. So that's really awesome that you're into programming too, because as you can tell, um, I like puzzles, so it's always cool to find somebody else that kind of has that programming mindset. Because yeah, I don't have very many friends that do that too. Because I was actually, when I got into programming first, um, the YouTube channel that I wanted to start was about development, like to help people out in development. But I was like, oh, you know what? I only have a few years of experience on this. I don't think I'm suitable to do this. But I have even less experience with comic books, and I'm doing it now, so whatever. But yeah, so um, yeah. What do you do, Mopey? If you don't mind me asking. And then while that happens, also, one last thing that I want to say is that the channel is completely okay. Let me see. I'm a graduate. I'm a graduate. My expertise is in game design, normally for PC. Nice. That's awesome, dude. But I have made some apps for Android in the past, more games type stuff, and very limited multiplayer or network interaction. See, that's freaking awesome because you know, ever since I was a kid, I've been wanting to make a game. But the problem is that I never like followed through. I always liked playing them more than actually making them as a kid. You know how kids are. And then you know, it takes an extra level of experience in order to do multiplayer stuff, like especially multiplayer, but games in general, because you have to know the language, you have to know how to code and know your way around the environment, and the frameworks and APIs and all this other stuff just to get things going. But like to also work with graphics and you know, interactions and things like that, that's like a whole nother thing. And then with my company working with an Android developer, like having different devices, because on for Apple, for iPhones, you only have three different iPhone screen sizes, um, three different and so you have three different iPhone sizes and three different iPad sizes, and that's it. Six sizes, no matter what, and they're all running the same operating system and everything. So that's iOS is considerably more easy, in my opinion. You know, because obviously I'm a iOS programmer. Um, Considerably more easy do to do development, because when we brought on our Android guys for this app, when they were just porting the iOS app into the Android environment, my goodness, the different things that they had to check for, I felt so blessed that I chose iOS, because I don't have to go through all the different screen sizes. I don't have to worry about being on like up to like six operating systems back, um, and it's just a lot easier. So apparently, I took the easy route. A lot of people take like the harder route, but you know, Android is gives you a lot more that you can do with Android. So that's awesome. And then PC development, man, that's crazy. Like I wouldn't even know where to start. So that's pretty cool. Um, yeah. Well, maybe you'll want to come to the comic community, or if there's any input, you know how things are with developing new projects. Input is always very valued for when developing new projects, so that you can definitely move forward and give the people what they want. So I really appreciate that, Mopey. But yeah, well, I primarily use Unity. That's an awesome system. I wanted to learn that. I generally allows you to lock the aspect ratio to default dimensions of the screen. The natively adopts to older operating system. That's awesome. Yeah, because I was thinking about doing. before I got into comics, I was thinking about doing a game, and then I found out how much grind goes into making a game, and you like don't get paid for it. It's like really, it's a really tough career to go into, like indie gaming, not necessarily like big games like Blizzard or anything like that, but yeah, I was thinking about going with learning Unreal, Unreal the like Unreal servers. I forgot how it was, but the one that made Unreal Tournament, because I used to play on Unreal Tournament. That used to be my game like way back in the '90s. But yeah, Unity is really awesome. It was also another one that I was considering, so that's pretty cool. But thanks so much, Mopey. Thank you for interacting today. And thank anybody else that's watching this, whether on the live stream or after the fact. If you guys, I want the one thing that I really want to get across today is that Comic Confab is very malleable. It's gonna be whatever the people want. So let me know. I'm always looking for interaction. I'm always looking for feedback. So let me know if the video series that I'm doing, like you really don't like it. Let me know. If I hear enough feedback that people don't like it, or you want me to do something in place of a specific video series, let me know. I can do that. Also, the things with the app, if there's any specific features that you want in the app, and let me know, because I think I learned Unreal back in a few years way back. Anyway, take care. Thanks, Mopey. Yeah, so let me know. Everything is pretty much open to change. I'm open to do whatever. I want to give you guys a good platform. I want to give you guys a good experience for everything that you guys get from Comic Confab, whether it's the tweets, the Instagram posts, YouTube content, or the Comic Confab app. Let me know, because I want to give you guys the best content. And hopefully, if Comic Confab does go up the way that I plan it, you'll have a place to interact with your favorite artists, your favorite writers, and your favorite YouTube channel hosts. Just depending on if they decide to jump on the environment, just like any other social networking platform. But hopefully, Comic Confab is the place that everybody goes to for their comic book needs. So thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Rubik's Cube solving, and have a great rest of the day. You'll have more content coming out all throughout the week. So I'll see you guys next week, and make sure you subscribe, like, and follow on Instagram and Twitter. All right, bye.